So yes, it finished 2-1 to Spurs then, thanks to that late Harry Kane winner. But that, of course, does not tell the full story of the match. It all started pre-match when the Spurs caretaker boss Cristiano Stellini and the Brighton manager Roberto Zerbi exchanged some choice words. Apparently, Zerbi had taken offence to comments previously made by Stellini about the work he's done at Brighton, saying he's benefited from the job Graham Potter had done at the club previously. Then we saw there were some exchanges, casts on the touchline during the game, and in the end, the match referee Stuart Atwell decided to show both managers a red card. It's interesting because we talk about the respect that's needed in football, and often that's obviously aimed at the referees, and we definitely agree with that. But, you know, we do need to see managers behaving in a certain manner. As much as we might go, it's a nice bit of drama, ultimately, it's quite good to see a referee clamping down on managers that might just be getting away with a few choice words too often.
Yeah, I've had these conversations with managers, and the dugout now is a completely different place. There's so much that's going on, having a go. I mean, I didn't like Stellini's comments about Zerbi. I thought it was very disrespectful, just taking over Graham Potter's team as if like he hasn't done anything. It's not necessary. You don't need to do that. But the behaviour in general is pretty toxic. I mean, you know now that none of the managers, hardly anybody, has a drink with each other after the game.
No, I know that.
It's hardly, especially in the Premier League, hardly anybody has anything to do with, you know, going in the boot room or the old days of coming to the manager's office. That's really rare now. Lots of them just shake their hand, hardly give a, you know, just a glance at best, and not much conversation down the tunnel, and there's no, you know, come in and have a chat, which used to be, you know, even when I first retired, I've been in many managers' office, sat there and chatted, and the opposition manager comes in, talks about the game. There's nothing, you know, hostile about the atmosphere. It's just what football is. But now it's definitely not that on the sidelines. It's completely opposite.
I mean, I'm looking at the comments that Stellini made, and maybe, I mean, maybe I haven't got the full transcript, but it doesn't seem that harsh for what for De Zerbi have taken offence. He said they came from a good manager with Graham Potter for a long time. I think Roberto De Zerbi has found a good solution to play with this style, because with Potter, the players know themselves very well. This is a great opportunity, because when players play for a long time with each other, it's easier. But it's not completely damning of De Zerbi.
Look, all comments get exaggerated slightly, but you don't really need to comment on. You know,
yes,
you don't really need to comment, and you know, you've profited from, you know, what the previous guy does. I think it's, you know, what you can say is, you say, look, what's happened at Brighton has been exceptional, and the club was in a great place, and this manager's come in and they've got a bit more, because that's the truth. Brighton have got more.
Yeah.
You know, they are a better team than under Graham Potter. Yesterday is, again, another example. The game, you know, there was a number of instances. Brighton were in this game. It was really close. Couple of disallowed goals, controversial, you know, calls on a penalty. Tottenham were in a real game yesterday. This was two teams vying for the Champions League spot. And you can't, you know, what you can't say is that De Zerbi's not improved Brighton, because they are a better team under him.
Oh, no, I totally agree with you. I think we've always said that, haven't we, in the last few weeks especially. Maybe we could give Stellini the benefit of the doubt of being inexperienced, maybe not necessarily one that's always comfortable in front of a mic. We don't know.
You know what I say to you? Sometimes you never know how paths cross. You know, like in media world and sometimes in football, sometimes there's people you cross. You don't know if there was a history years gone by, something played against each other, or something that was said, or, you know, so you sometimes, oh, right, okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. You know, I don't know. But, I mean, if you see the way the reaction of the two camps yesterday, there was clearly a lot of toxic atmosphere between the two camps.
Yeah, absolutely. As for the match itself then, Cass, it was... what was it, 5th against 6th at the time. And in terms of form, I think everyone was thinking, well, Brighton are going to really cause Tottenham problems. And they did. They had a few goals disallowed. There was a possible penalty as well that wasn't given, that many will suggest should have been given when Mitoma went down under a challenge by Rubie. Didn't go their way at all. But still a very strong performance from Brighton. Really did test Spurs. Yeah.
They are the side that have play with no fear. Take it to the opposition, counter really well, got great pace in their side. Really. And to be fair, I mean, Tottenham have always got a luxury of having Son and Kane that can produce and get goals. Son's has a very difficult season, and he's still got half-decent numbers, but it's just nowhere near as good as last year. Kane is relentless. He's just his ability to see a goal, see an opportunity, and you think, wow, always Kane. You think it's been a decade of him getting goals on a regular basis. Apart from injuries now and again, he's done it regularly.
It was a much-needed win for Spurs if they are to try and get into the top 4. They have played a game more than the teams above them who are already in those Champions League places. But as I say, a must-win as it turned out to be for Spurs. As for Brighton, they've still got 2 games in hand, dropped down to 7th, but they are now 10 points off 4th spot. Does that sort of end any hope, do you think, for them to make it into the Champions League places?
Well, they're capable of winning their 2 games in hand, and they're capable of taking on and beating some good sides. They're going to have one hell of a run. Yesterday would have been a big blow to them because losing 2 Spurs. I mean, incidentally, Spurs, I think, go to Newcastle in the next couple of weeks. I think that's a big game
April
for them.
23rd.
So they're going to have, chances to catch up. They're going to have to win 3 or 4 games on the spin, Brighton, which I wouldn't put it past them.
They're more than capable of doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do have Chelsea next away. That is their next fixture before they focus on the FA Cup semi-final with Manchester United. Then they've got Forest and Wolves to come as well. So there are some winnable games there, certainly for this Brighton side, who, if you look at their stats as well, shots in the game, Spurs had 9, Brighton 17. On target 3 for Spurs, 4 for Brighton. It's a sort of, as much as we've seen a massive improvement under Zerbi, and they have been scoring more goals certainly under Zerbi as well, it's a bit of a similar tale to what we'd seen previously with Brighton, where a number of chances just can't put them away.
Yeah, well, the young lad Ferguson who's come in has done really well. Whether he's going to be more of a complete player next year is more likely. He's still, on a learning curve, and he's done fantastic at Brighton. I suspect he'll be a big player for them next year. And Brighton are going to be in the position to improve their squad again, because one thing they do brilliantly well is recruitment.
2 goals disallowed for handball, as I say, a penalty shout as well.
The Toma one was harsh.
Yeah, I just quickly wanted to mention that because I know you said that. And actually, interestingly, Chris Foy in the papers today saying that VAR could find no conclusive evidence to say it was a clear and obvious error because the referee had said it was handball during the game, hence why it was ruled out. But you sort of looked at it a few times and you're questioning.
You can't tell if he's handballed it. Like you said, it's the referee's made the call because he said it was a handball and they didn't want to go against him. It wasn't conclusive, so it didn't, wasn't given.
Yep, tough afternoon in the M for Brighton then, but it is Spurs who won that one 2-1 to remain in 5th place. As I say, they are 3 points off the top 4.
The Sunday Sports Breakfast with Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino. Sunday mornings from 6 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.